What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1993 Honda Civic. Up front is a 1.8 liter inline 4, and down below is a 5-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be filming this video today because this is yet another B18 swapped EG Civic on the channel, but two reasons for it. First of all, this is a high compression build. Although it is still NA, it makes a lot more power than the other NA EG swaps that I've done. But the second reason is the fact that this car has a full interior. I don't know if I've ever driven an EG Civic with a full interior, so I'm just excited to show you that today. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that B18, the reason why we're all here. Well, this car originally came with a D16 single overhead cam, 4-cylinder, 1.6. It's been swapped out for a 1.8 liter B series engine, meaning it has dual overhead cams. But beyond that, this engine has been built by a professional engine builder, and it is a high compression engine with a 13:1 compression ratio. Now, I will include a build list down in the comments. It'll be the pinned comment will be the build list if you want to figure out everything that this car is. But the main point is, why would you go B swap and why would you go NA instead of a turbo? Well, the reason you go for a B is A, parts availability, and B, it's just what everyone builds. They're easy to build, they're well known, and they work in the chassis really, really well. And they're pretty easily findable, if that makes sense. But why NA instead of boost? You can make a lot more power with boost. And yes, that's true, but the boosted motors can't take as much abuse as an NA motor. As we have learned from Boosted John's videos, the car will make great numbers with a big turbo, but it will hurt your heart and sometimes, just kidding, all the time, your wallet. Well, that's not necessarily the case here with the NA build. It's reliable and it can run all day, get hot, stay cold, whatever you need, and it's not gonna bark or bite at you. Now, the deficit is that you make maybe half the power a turbo build would, but a turbo car is work hard, play hard. This is more even keel, more standard, more predictable, which is nice to know. However, that's not to say that this car is a slouch in any way. On the dyno to the wheels, this car makes 250 naturally aspirated horsepower, which is fantastic, and it sounds pretty doggone good too. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 5-speed manual. It does have a racing clutch in it, as well as the transmission has been rebuilt and refurbished, stronger gearing, and it has a short throw shifter, but that's pretty much it. I really like the way that it shifts. The clutch is nice and light and friendly, even though you're going to put it through Dante's 7 layers. Last but not least, of course, the EG Civic is still front-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the NA B18 swapped EG with high compression? It's a lot. This car begs you, pleads with you, and almost forces you to rev it out. If you drive it like a grandma, this thing is gonna feel broken and wrong. So you gotta put it through its paces if you want it to act proper, and not everyone is ready for that. On decel, it bucks and bites and snarls, and it's just unhappy at any moment besides the top of the tachometer. And to some, that's a lot of fun. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior, because it gets me aroused how full this interior is. In front of me, I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is my tachometer. In the center is a speedometer that goes up to 140. I don't know if this is a special speedometer or not, but all the other EGs I've driven only go up to 120. So if anyone has any info, please let me know. And then off to the right, we have our coolant temperature and fuel. The steering wheel has been swapped out. It says Mugen Power in the center. And off to the left, we have our gauge dimmer switch, climate vent, and some added buttons for fans and lights and things like that. On the door, we have the crank for the window, latch to get in and out, and lock. That's it. Moving into the center, we do have our AFR gauge as well as our oil pressure. We have a digital clock, hazard switch, and vents. And the climate controls. Really love how clean and simple they are. And our Honda factory radio. This was an optional radio, but it is factory, and I never see these in Honda Civics. So enjoy it while you can. It's not some weird Bluetooth color changing thing. It's an actual radio from Honda. Can you imagine that? Then we do have an ashtray, cigarette lighter, a pocket, it just says pocket, and then pop out cup holders so we can actually do a big freaking model test here in an EG Civic. And although it fails, I'm just happy to be able to do it at all. Then we have the shifter. It's a stock Civic shift knob. No one in the last 10 years has seen this, but I have, and I get to show it to you. That's so cool. Parking brake and the seats. Now the seats are not stock Civic. They are stock Integra, and they bolt right in because obviously, but they are clean and they're from the 90s, so I still like them, just not the factory seats. However, we do have back seats in an EG. So let's go do a backseat review at a 93 Honda. Getting in the back of an EG that actually has back seats. All right, we're in the back of the EG, the 93 Civic. I don't know if I've ever been back here, but once we are, it's honestly not bad. The seat material is nice. Headroom is good. Now with the seats, oh, I can't move it back. So this is way more leg space than I would normally have. But if the passenger is nice, they can move it up and it would be nice. It's not bad back here. It's honestly not. Would I want to ride back here across the country? No, of course not. But going down to the shop, hanging out with buddies, it's not the end of the world. And I actually kind of like that. So at the end of the day, thumbs up from the EG Civic. Let's talk about the hatch and tailgate real quick, and then we'll talk about the looks. The one downside of running an all-motor car is that you always have to justify that it's all-motor. Anyway, popped it from inside. There is a trunk latch up there. Pull that open, and then move this off to the left and pull that down. This is a rear carbon fiber hatch, which I absolutely love. And once we are in here, this is the trunk. So this is actually the dyno sheet for those of you curious. That is the dyno sheet for the car, but that is the trunk space of an EG Civic. No subwoofers back here, no any crazy parts bin or extra oil jugs, just enjoying the trunk of an EG Civic. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I love the look of this EG. I think it's fantastic, and I was telling the owner, Steve, I think that the EG aged really, really well. I think it's a very handsome car. It's subtle, it's supple, it's non-offensive, and yet it has this monstrous motor in it, which I love the dichotomy of. It was also recently ceramic coated. There's only a tiny little dot of rust on one of the fenders, but that's it. For a 32-year-old car, I'll take that every day of the week. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving another B18 swapped EG Civic, but probably the cleanest one to date? Well, of course I like this car a lot. There's no rhyme or reason why I wouldn't. The motor is built professionally and is really dialed in. That is the biggest takeaway of how great that engine is. And I love the fact that it's all motor. That to me means a lot because there's no faking it. With a turbo, it could go so many different ways. It's a performance-enhancing drug. But this, you pull up to the track with the same equipment you leave with, it just feels so honest. This car doesn't lie. No, it doesn't make into the 300s. It makes 250. But it says, here's what I make, take it or leave it. And I'll take it! As I just spun through third gear. I'll take it every day, man. It's just so honest. It's not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. It's not trying to say, hey, I'm this, hey, I'm that. Pop the hood, take a look, figure it out. It's great. It's just, it's so good. I love it when cars don't lie to me. They sell it straight. And you know what? There's no reason to brag. 250's enough. Because here's the thing, with a turbo, it's so easy to inflate the numbers. Because if you saw it once on the dyno, you could say, yeah, it made 500, but really every day of the week, it makes like 405. But just because you turn up the turbo once, you could say it makes 500 and then dial it back. Well, Yeah, that's true. It did, in fact, once make 500, but if I see you on the boulevard, you should be able to make 500 horsepower without pulling out your little Toshiba laptop. This makes 250 every single day, every moment, every hour, every minute, every second. It makes 250, and there's no lying about that. That's what I like about all motor. That's why it matters that this car is all motor. There's no fibs, there's no hubbub, there's no guff. It is what it is. It lays all of its cards out on the table and says, do you want this or do you not? And today, I wanted it, and I wanted it bad. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Steve for letting me take out his B18 swapped Honda Civic. What an extraordinary little automobile. Steve has been absolutely awesome. I've reviewed several of his cars throughout the past. Really down-to-earth guy, really sweet. He said, hey, I just got it detailed. Come on up and drive it. And I said, yes, please. So I appreciate him fitting me into his schedule. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.